Good morning, everyone. This is the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss Journey. I am Scott Schweitzer. I am the Clydesdale. This is my journey to lose 100 pounds by the 2023 CrossFit Games. And this is my coach, Cheryl Nasso, nutrition coach extraordinaire, multiple-time CrossFit Games athlete, and she is the one who runs this gig. So I'm going to turn it over to her.
I am super excited. Every week I'm excited, but it's only because I think about our talk every week in my morning workouts and stuff like that. So this week has been a little bit different. Had a couple of bumps in the road mindset wise. So fill me in. I guess let's talk about the scale issue. So did we determine, is your scale kaputs? Is it like not working right?
So at some point it was wrong.
Yeah.
It had to be.
Mm-hmm.
And so now I have a new scale thanks to yours truly. And so now at least it's making sense the rest of the week.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if the starting weight was accurate, but we have something now that we know is working and we can go forward with it.
By the way, guys, so funny. So like I sometimes I just like to do nice things for my clients. And I was doing his check-in and he's like, I think I need to get a new scale. I'm like, you know what? I'm going to go on Amazon. I was going to order one. And I just mailed him one. And it was funny because I had to like go back to a gift I had gotten you from Rogue, I think a year ago. And I'm like, oh, that's where I have his address. I had to like be a little bit of a detective. So I sent him a random scale and I didn't put who it was from. So like, I just assumed he would know it was coming from his nutrition coach. I'm like, well, who else would send you a freaking scale? But it was just pretty funny because I didn't even think to put like from Coach Cheryl or anything like that. So yeah, I mean, it doesn't matter. So right now, as of Friday, the weight we have is consistent going forward. If it starts to go funky again, we're going to know it's your crazy floor. And then we're going to have to figure out something from your floor that you told me is you have an up north.
So
house.
I moved it to my bathroom.
Okay. That's good.
So now I'm doing it there.
All right. Well, that works as well. And I know that can be super frustrating because when your goal is to lose 100 pounds by 2023 and you're like, what is going on? Like I've, got this thing that's messing up. I understand. I don't deal with this with the weight, but for instance, I've been having issues with my whoop strap and my whoop strap has been all of a sudden I'll be doing zone 2 training and it's telling that my heart rate's 195. And I'm like, what am I doing wrong? Like I'm trying to stay in zone 2 and I'm like getting this bad data. And it's like when the data is not lining up with what we're doing, it totally like makes us feel frustrated. And you're like, man, your check-in's like, I am crushing the food. I am crushing my workouts. My clothes are feeling better. Everything is feeling great. And this freaking scale is like going crazy. And it's like frustrating. So the cool thing is now, like you can put all that frustration aside and be like, all right now the mindset is we've got a new number and this number is consistent. So now let's use this as a little bit of a refresh going into this week. And you're still down. So it's not like you didn't gain weight. So anything coming up this weekend in terms of social stuff?
So last night was the big social thing and it's over. Thank goodness. It was a beautiful wedding and ceremony and we had a really good time, but I had no control over what was served. And it's a wedding. They're lifelong friends that their daughter was getting married, who has been a lifelong friend of my daughter's. So it's a new stage in my life where my daughter's friends are getting married. And we had a blast, but what they had was pasta and salad. Mm-hmm. Only thing you had a choice of.
Yeah.
So I just ate it. The bad thing was I didn't eat a lot of it. And then on the way home, I had to get something with protein in it. And so I stopped and got a cheeseburger.
Yeah.
But it all still fit in my calories, but my macros are all out of whack.
Yeah. And that's obviously like, I was recording earlier going into the holiday season, just thinking about social eating versus like eating socially is like, all right, like that's a time where like you're with friends and family and you got to make the best of the situation and just realize that, hey, this is an actual special occasion. It's not just me choosing to have a cheeseburger and pasta. This is what I got available to me and I'm going to make the best of it. And when it comes down to weight loss, what matters most is protein and calories. So if that's what you're troubleshooting, that's perfect. Your macros are going to be a little off, not a big deal. Mostly we optimize by our macros are going to optimize body composition and obviously our energy throughout the day and all that kinds of stuff. So I think you did awesome. And I'm glad that you had that. So no other plans this weekend?
No, my mom's in town. We're taking the dogs to the dog park.
Is it getting cold up there yet?
Well, cold for you, probably, yes.
Yeah. Cause,
And it's definitely, we're getting like 30 to 50-degree changes from day to night.
yeah, my assistant coach lives in Ohio. She goes to Scott Panchik's gym. I'm not sure how far that is from you. And she's telling me it's getting a little bit colder up there now. I'm like, oh, I have to go to Virginia this week for a seminar. And I'm like, it's going to be a little chillier, but it's all good. So, all right. So looking at numbers, I'm going to check in on a couple of other things for you today. How have your workouts been feeling this week?
So again, another thing that hit me this week is I got sick.
I heard that.
And it happened.
I heard the coughing.
Yeah. And every year when we switch from hot to cool, and the temperature fluctuations through the day, my body just takes a second to get adjusted. So I missed 2 workouts in the middle of the week. But honestly, before that, best workouts I've had so far, probably in 5 years.
That's awesome. That's awesome. That's really good. And I think that, what's really cool for you is that I always think about how we all need like a refresh, right? Like, so when we first started this journey this year, it was fresh off the CrossFit Games. And it's always that opportunity to have that like exciting thing that kind of pushes us to be motivated. What's really cool for your journey is I think that we've got this mapped out in a way that you're going to have a consistent refresh in that. So I think that you are riding a high of obviously the CrossFit Games. This week you're a little bit sick, but I think your workouts are freaking you're on go mode. What's cool is you have the Masters Fitness Collective coming up in what, 2 weeks now? Something along those lines. It's going to be another refresh for you. You're going to be around a bunch of athletes again. It's going to be that reminder of like my why. This is my why. And then after that, we've got, a good 12 weeks, and then we've got Wadapalooza. So it's really cool how we can kind of phase this in a way to keep. And if people thought about that, like little ways to just get refreshed, even with me this week, I have a little business thing coming up, and I'm like, it's always a good refresher to be around other coaches and just having that like group consistency of us like all doing the same thing. And it's just really cool. So I do think this week is probably just that you're a little bit under the weather. So make sure that you are taking care of yourself. Other things I didn't check in with you on last week that I wanted to was, how is the stretching going? The mobility stuff?
It's going pretty well. It definitely is better when I do it right before a workout, and I feel the difference during the workout. If my day job allows that, meaning that I'm not in a meeting right up until the time I have to leave for the gym or something like that. But yeah, it's definitely, it's something I never did when I was doing CrossFit from like 2011 to 2017, 18. And I feel the difference a lot in positioning this time around.
Yeah, I agree. I actually feel like I'm a pretty mobile person. And even this morning when I was snatching, I just it's weird how sometimes I'll randomly do things. I decided to like stretch out my ankles today, like randomly. I was like, you know what? Let me just work on my ankle flexibility. I don't ever work on my ankle flexibility because I have pretty good flexible ankles. And my snatch felt amazing. And all I did was spend like 30 seconds on each side, like just doing some simple stuff. It's amazing how that happens. So I love that you're still doing that. Make sure that you're prioritizing that, because for you, I know that you had a back injury, and I know that it's likely coming from some tight upper back stuff. So I always like checking on that. And then what about zone 2? Did you get one of those in this week?
I did not. If I get one in, it'll be tomorrow.
All right. And then that was the other things that you wanted to kind of stay consistent with was your mobility, because we nixed the whole squat thing. That was not thing, because you've been doing a great job with your check-ins. Now I know last night, sorry about that beep, guys. My stupid volume on my client dashboard, whenever I get people that message me, I don't know how to turn it off. I probably could figure it out. I've tried, but anyways, last night you said you were out. So obviously you're a little bit off. Your numbers were still pretty good. Protein intake this week is looking a little bit better, aside from Thursday. was the only real low day you had. And obviously Friday was just, you did the best you could. How was your hunger this week?
Uh, it definitely on days that I'm working out, it's more. On days like rest days, um, and that would be Thursday, like,
Okay.
it's really hard for me to eat. I'm not hungry during the day. Um, does that make sense?
Yep, that makes sense. And well, so I'm the opposite. On my rest day, I cannot stop thinking about food. I'm so hungry on my rest day. I don't know why. Well, I do know why. So when we're resting is when, people think that muscle is being built in the gym. They think that we are getting fitter in the gym. We actually get fitter by recovering from the gym. So the gym is where we're getting the stimulus that causes our body to adapt. So typically after a hard training day, I'm going to be a little bit more hungry. I think for
I think
you,
for me, just to explain it, my rest days are when I up my media company stuff.
yeah. So you're probably moving a lot less. Yeah.
Yeah, and, my mind is occupied on other things.
Yeah, so you're not even thinking about it. So I think that for you this week, I I kind of like am looking at I can't really I don't want to make a number adjustment just yet because of us having this funky scale thing going on. It's kind of like the metric that I need to kind of look at isn't really as consistent as I'd like it to be, but not because of your fault, because of the scale that you've been using. Now,
No, I didn't log it yet, but this morning I weighed in at 335 on the
okay,
new scale.
okay.
So we're like 337, 37, 35.
Okay, then we're in a good place there. So that's also what's really cool because I think I also had put in your notes that I might make a number adjustment. But things are looking pretty good with where they're at. So let's not make any number adjustments just yet. I think that you're feeling good in terms of that. Let's see if we can kind of just see if we have more consistency now with this new scale to see if things are still going down. Because the other thing is you looked great in that photo you sent me yesterday. Your clothes are fitting better. Your last thing is all my data markers are awesome except the scale. Workouts are getting better and better. Clothes are fitting better and better. I am crushing with food. I'm cruising with food. And then you wanted to say you need to de-emphasize the scale. I need a new one. 6 pound weight gain overnight is not possible. So that really does show me, guys, that this guy is making freaking progress, and that the main thing is like we had a metric that wasn't accurate. Now we have a better accurate metric. So I mean, what do you think? How do you feel about keeping these same numbers this week?
Yeah, because I know last week my goal was to be, more consistent with my protein, and, and I wasn't able to do that when I was sick because all I wanted was soup,
Yeah.
and I don't even like soup normally, if that makes sense. Like,
Yep.
so I had a lot of chicken broth, stuff like that to try to just feel better in those couple days midweek. And, and so, yeah, I think I need a week to get the proteins back to where they need to be and really focus on that and being more consistent every day with my numbers.
I 100% agree. So, and this is something that I'm going to leave you with, and this is for everybody. I'm gonna put your numbers in my trainerized dash back to where I wanted them to be, not the lower ones that I had in there. Is when we focus on, I get this all the time. I need to hit my numbers. I'm going to hit my numbers this week. That's what I got to do. That's what I got to do. Okay, hitting your numbers is not the action. Hitting your numbers is the result of taking action on one thing. And there's a couple of different ways people can do this. All right. The easiest way is to make sure that you plan your day ahead of time. And at the beginning of the day, you log it all in, especially on the day when you're busy, because you're not going to want to think about I don't even know what I have to hit right now. I'm just going to focus on this. And that's what happens probably. You don't want to you don't want to screw up your macros. So you don't eat. You just, I'm not going to eat right now because you don't know what you have to eat. So planning ahead is the action. However you do that, it could be planning the whole day ahead of time. It could be planning in the things you're going to have and keeping a mental note of what you have left over so that throughout the day, when you do have an opportunity for a snack, you're like, I know I have a bunch of carbs to eat, so I'm going to have popcorn and some cottage cheese. And I'm going to fill that in with, those little snacks so I don't have to have a plan for the whole day. Or you are doing it as you go, but then at the end of the night, you're planning the risk of playing food Tetris, which comes down to, okay, what do you really want to eat at the end of the night? If you're, if you've eaten all your fats and all you have left is protein, now you're eating egg whites or whey protein shakes. So it's like you got to really think about what you want to do at the end of the day. For me, I have my own non-negotiable. Every night, I like to have a bowl of cereal and I make myself a protein smoothie bowl. And I make a protein smoothie bowl with my protein powder and my fresh blueberries and make a big almost it's like friggin' ice cream to me, but I put cereal in it. That's like my nighttime snack for God knows how long. I got off the Halo Top when inflation happened because it was costing me $6 a pint. And so I was like, let's just drop that. And now I make that and I love it. So that gets planned in every single day at the beginning of my day. I also have like a couple of other non-negotiables. You might want to do the same thing. Whatever you want your nighttime snack to be and or your dinner with your wife, that might be a special thing for you. So plan those things in first if you know them and then kind of be able to backtrack from there. And that's really where people have to get out of this habit of, I'm going to hit my macros. Well, hitting your macros is the reaction of you doing the thing to plan the macros.
Yeah, I love the analogy of food Tetris because I do feel like I play that a lot.
It's a lot of people do. A lot of people do. And it's like, there was a time where I was like super, like I would go like on my chicken, 3.1 ounces. If it was like 3.1, like, no, Cheryl, this is freaking dumb. Now I'm like, all right, within 10 grams, I'm ballpark, I'm good. So, but yeah, it does happen. And sometimes it sucks. Like sometimes I have clients like, you didn't plan ahead. You're way over on your fat. You're, way under on your protein. And that's where like you have to troubleshoot at that point calories, but you got to do the best you can. So that's going to be your thing this week. Even if you're just planning in the protein and the carbs and stuff that like that's the easy thing. It's just like, all right, I know that we're having pork tenderloin as the protein for dinner. So whatever she's making with it, we'll figure that as we go. But I know that I'm going to have 6 ounces of pork tenderloin. And now you have that to go with for the rest of the day.
Yeah. And just so the audience knows, both my wife and I cook. On days I cook, it's super easy to plan. But there's days where I'm busy and she cooks, and then it's kind of mystery dinner until I'm in that moment. And that's when I'm playing food Tetris at the end of the night because I don't want to ruin a marriage over macros.
Do I want my marriage? Do I want my macros? So the other thing I'll say about this is, and this is good for everybody to hear, guys. And I know you're good about this with your wife, but people need to have honest conversations with their significant others when they have a goal. Okay. Because your wife is supportive of you and most people's husbands and wives are supportive of them, but they're so afraid of like upsetting the balance that it's like, hey, right now, like it's really hard for me to get enough protein in my day. One of my main meals to get protein is dinner. So whenever I eat dinner, I have to have like 5 to 7 ounces of a cooked protein. Whatever else you're making, I don't care. We'll figure that out. But I know it's got to be my priority. And once that is like in their head, now they know that like Scott needs protein at dinner. So if I'm making pasta, there's got to be a protein to go with it. And it's the same thing. If people just take like that one uncomfortable conversation can alleviate all of that. And even if that person reacts in a little bit of a, oh, really? Oh, you need your protein. Because you're going to get that sometimes. But now, guess what? They're also going to realize that they're probably reacting in a way that is not necessary and that it's just their own perception. And then they're like, okay, no big deal. Like, it's not a big deal. So.
And even like an example this week, my wife was awesome about, we pre-grilled chicken last weekend. She heated it up in the air fryer and she put extra in, not knowing how much I would need. And now she's realizing it's okay to put it back in the fridge when I don't use it.
Yeah.
Like it's better to have too much ready than not enough.
Yeah. I love yeah, that's great. And that's, maybe that could be the topic today for people to really take home with them is that, well, 2 topics. One is scale is only one metric of success. And right now we have like blind weights, I'm going to call what we've had for like the last week. It's been a little bit off, but we're using all these other metrics to measure your success right now. Is your clothes are fitting better, your energy besides being sick is good, your workouts are feeling great. And number 2 is relying on the people around you, not for doing the work for you, but I shouldn't say relying, but like allowing them to be a part of your journey by being open with them about what your needs are, even if that means that sometimes they don't give you those things, but you're going to give them to yourself, and that they're on the same page with that, you know? So like, it might be like, hey, I'm going to have some extra protein cooked in the refrigerator just in case I need it. It's not insulting you for what you cooked. It's just that I need to have this as part of it. So making those honest conversations a part of your journey, and you will grow stronger from those conversations.
Yeah, this is good stuff. I'm ready for the winter and the fall to kick in and keep
Ooh,
this ball
no.
rolling.
I'm wearing a sweatshirt right now. I'm wearing, this is OG sweatshirt. But yeah, it's getting a little chilly down here too, which it's actually been nice because it's not chilly. I just don't have to wear 3 clothes. I don't have to change my clothes 3 times a day. I just can, not be sweaty in my she shed. That's what I call my gym now, guys. It's the she shed.
There you
Guys,
go.
guys have their man caves. I got my she shed. So, anyways.
And you'll be all ready for when you make the games in Birmingham now. So
I know, it's so crazy. 2024, right? One more year in
yeah.
Madison. One more year in Madison.
Well, with that, one more year. So awesome stuff. Thank you so much. If you enjoy what you hear, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notifier so that you are the first to know when new episodes come out. And if you have any questions, make sure you DM either myself or Cheryl. Our IGs are on the screen. It is at Clydesdale_media or at Cheryl Nasso on Instagram. With that, we will see you next week on the Clydesdale Media Weight Loss.